What's going on, everybody? So I just got done watching the first 3 episodes of Ironheart, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I had a really good time watching this show. All right, so right out the gate, I was very interested to see why Marvel has been holding on to this show for years. I mean, honestly, they've been holding on to the show for like 2.5 years, and I always want to know why. And of course, we know Marvel hasn't really been doing good the last couple years, so I was very interested to see, like, okay, how is this show? And right out the gate, we kind of get like a little recap of how she was, doing a little fellowship thing in Wakanda. Again, that movie came out like 2022. But what I like the most about this show is the connection between Riri Williams and Natalie, her best friend or stepsister. But I love that dynamic. I think those two characters is the heart and soul of this show, because it's kind of funny because they go like back and forth. You could really see like this sisterly bond that they have, this dynamic. It is amazing. And honestly, the actress who played Natalie, she's killing the role because she feels like a sister, a best friend that I want to have. You know what I mean? Like, she's funny. She helps Riri out whenever she goes through it, have like, let's say, a panic attack at times. She knows how to soothe her down. And then I like Riri's character as well too, because she's that hard character. She wants more for herself. She's like dreaming really, really big, but she's constantly being stepped on because of lack of opportunities. You know what I mean? She has a very, very clear drive and motivation to accomplish more, but of course, hardships. You know what I mean? She got to go the long route. She don't have money, so she hustles. She does things to try to get money, like a lot of people do. You know what I mean? And I love that. So she's kind of rough around the edges, but the Natalie character, it bounces off of her really, really well. You know what I mean? And I also love how they do a good job of showing how smart Riri is, because I'm not a comic book reader, you guys. I only watch all the MCU stuff, and honestly, I've been behind with the last couple projects, but I do love how I feel like they don't really give us like boring exposition when it comes to explaining how smart Riri is. Like, you kind of get a little bit of that when I think the John character was kind of explaining, like, oh, hey, like, she graduated high school at like the age of 9 or 11. She got into college at age 15. But they also show us in other ways, like how she could build things, construct stuff. She's smart. She going over blueprints and things like that. Like, she could fix things, in a quick amount of time. I mean, she built freaking AI, which what's going on right now is a lot of AI. So I kind of like how, even though they finished filming this story a few years ago, it's still touching on certain topics that's going on as of right now too. I do like that. Now also too, we get introduced to a good amount of characters. Now, I can't say these are some colorful characters over the top. This show is pretty funny and over the top at times. Like it like I said, some of these characters, man, they're very over the top. We do get introduced to another character by the name of Joe. In a way, he's kind of like a slight comic relief. In a way, we do get a pretty solid reveal of his character. Again, I'm not a comic book reader, so that was a surprise to me. With the suit, I didn't like the design of the suit, especially in Wakanda Forever. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it's starting to grow on me a little bit more. The suit, I'm starting to like it a little bit more. I guess because of the things that they do with it, as in like comedic and showcasing the flying ability. Disney pump out a lot of money for these budgets, so I feel as if we do get to see the suit a lot. Like, I mean, we saw the suit in episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. Like, every episode we got a chance to see the suit in action, at least flying. Oh yeah, Parker, the soon-to-be villain, Parker. The guy, I don't know his name. I mean, honestly, I should look this up, but he does a good job, because I do remember him in Transformers Rise of the Beast. But I do like him. I feel as if he's pretty smooth. He's a good talker, you know what I mean? But he's going through this little villain art because he has this little magical hood thing that he wears, and it's kind of cool because he represents magic and then she represents science. So you know, that is a cool aspect of it. Like, I want to see how she's going to be able to confront him and eventually try to beat him, because he has magic. But his character, I do like. You know, obviously he had a rough upbringing, you know, which they kind of touched on that. And I do like what he's trying to do. You know, he's basically kind of like stealing from the rich, you know. We don't fully know all of his motivations, but of course he's going to take a real serious turn because of, you know, events that happen throughout the show. Overall, I think the show is pretty cool, man. You know, it satisfied me. I think it's a good watch.